Ooh, she's got a nice photo up. I don't know how you.
Uh-oh.
Hi, Cheryl.
Talking about me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, she heard
You have a
that.
nice photo that shows until your video turns on.
Yeah, that's one from work.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
It's old too. Oh well.
So I think I can call the meeting to order. Pino will join us when he can around 8 or 8:30. And I believe I have to make Virginia a voting member for the night.
Okay.
All right. And I will just read the Zoom meeting rules from the town since Pino's not here. First off, it's the remote meetings. We're all coming in via Zoom. The meeting is recorded. You guys, I think you could all see the RCTV studio shows up as an attendant. They may or may not broadcast this live or replay it later on. And I think the videos are also available on YouTube. I'll keep my eye on the waiting room in case anyone else wants to join up. And we try to ask if you can keep yourself on mute unless you're talking or unless you know you're in a nice quiet place. And we know, which isn't always the case. When the dogs walk by outside, my dogs will start barking. So I'll try to cover that up. And the town asks we use chat for technical issues, but not for side conversations. Feel free to raise your hand or hit the raise hand button to get my attention. And we'll do votes by roll call. So, maybe we could go around and introduce ourselves. Amelia.
Hi, I'm Amelia Devon Friedman. I'm the secretary. Mr. Carr, for the notes, what is your first name, please?
He may be on mute.
He is on mute, but he should be able to hear me, should he not?
Maybe he stepped away for a minute.
Hello, Mr. Carr. Your first name for the notes, please?
Dennis Carr.
Dennis, thank you.
And I'm Samantha Getru, the chair of the commission. Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Barnes.
Virginia.
Virginia Adams, associate member, filling in tonight as full voting member.
All right. Charlene.
And I'm Charlene Reynolds Santo, the treasurer.
Yeah. All right. And Mr. Bowmiller.
And I'm Kevin Bowmiller, and I am the community services director here in the town of Reading.
Okay, great. It's nice to meet you. I think you had wanted to talk to us about an awning at the senior center. So we could put that first in our agenda and do that now. What did you?
Okay, great. Thank you very much. As part of my community services director, one of my hats is I've been filling in as the Pleasant Street Senior Center director since Jane Burns left, a little over a year ago. We were doing interviews the week before COVID started. And needless to say, the hiring process stopped. So I've been filling in for a year. Unfortunately, the senior center has been closed for about 13 months now.
Wow.
And needless to say, everybody's had to deal with the social isolation. But I think the social isolation has been hardest on the senior population. And they are really itching to get back to the center. But we can't open it without a plan to do it safely for both the clients and the staff. And one thing that we thought about, I don't know if has everybody been to the Pleasant Street Center?
Yes.
So it's the old fire station in town. It's a beautiful building. Unfortunately, it wasn't designed at the center. So we've kind of made the most of it. And one idea that we've come up with in order to keep people as safe as possible is to allow people to be outside if we can. And there's a patio I don't know if am I able to share my screen?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
'Cause I don't have, yeah, normally the host would, but if you have a document you'd like to show us, that'd be great. I think you can. It's possible you might have to send it to me, but
I think folks have in the past, Sam. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
some
So
recollection.
give
of
it a
that.
try.
Can people? There we go.
Oh, yeah, good.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Okay, so that's the senior center,
Mhm.
Pleasant Street here. The front entrance is over there by the flagpole, by the van. So this is the patio here. We would like to allow people to utilize and be outside and spread out. Our initial thought was to put retractable awnings permanently onto the building above right here. But being an historical building and being on the National Register, making permanent alterations, I learned is difficult, to say the least. So the next idea, which is actually more economical, would be to put a tent, a small, roughly 20 by 20, which would just be temporary in this area on the patio. Probably roughly June through September. And then we could take it down, and then if necessary, we could put it up again in another year or not, depending on what the situation is and how we can utilize the existing building. So again, I just wanted to bring it to your attention to see if you had any questions, comments, or recommendations on how to move forward.
Charlene?
You said the tent would be about 20 by 20. How big is that patio area?
It's about 22 by 32. So it's about 22 deep and 32 end to end. This area here kind of, it's not a perfect rectangle. This area here gets cut off. So that's why we were thinking just the 20 by 20, so it wouldn't go all the way to the right-hand side.
So where might it be positioned? Against the two, in front of the two left doors that we look at?
Roughly here, yes. These are the only doors that open up.
Okay.
So it would roughly be here to over there.
Mhm.
And there are a few tables, I don't know if you can see them.
Oh, yeah.
So this table here would not be covered.
Those
Would-
fixed?
Yes, they are. Yep. And there's
There's a
another
bench
one,
there.
another one here as well. And then there's a bench outside
Mhm.
of the patio itself.
Okay.
Does anyone else have questions, Jonathan, or comments?
Yeah, thank you. When you talk about it being a tent, could you describe in a little more detail if you know yet? I assume it's going to have 4 metal post corners, or is it going to have more? Is it going to have a pyramidical canopy
It will,
top? What kind of top? And is it going to have sides or anything around the sides?
Okay. If I can, I'll share another picture. Let's see. This is basically the type of tent. This is actually a 20 by 30 tent, so it's a little bit larger. This is a picture that the awning company gave me. So the exact number of posts, I'm not 100% sure on, but it'd be roughly, it would look like this. And there's, obviously, it would need to be secured because we wouldn't be able to take it down if there was bad weather coming. But what they can do is, rather than we wouldn't ruin the patio by putting stakes into the the concrete or the bricks. Rather, we could possibly use barrels or something else. The tent company mentioned was using a small Jersey barrier type of item to put on the corners and then have the straps come down to the Jersey type barriers to secure the tent.
And I guess just as a brief follow-up, I think you might have alluded to it earlier. Are you looking at this, Kevin? If you know, or if the town has a sense about it yet, is this something that you're looking at as a result of the limitations from COVID? And more importantly, or the real crux of my question is, is the thought that it's going to be temporarily permanent, in the sense that you're looking to probably have it out there year after year after year, or is this just to get by through this?
This is absolutely COVID driven, just so that we can make the most of what space we have. And indoor space, until it's proven or we get past what we're still in, the outdoor space is really the safest. So right, it's COVID driven for this season as we look towards opening up the Pleasant Street Center to welcome back our clients.
Okay, thank you.
And it would not be closed in. Again, we're looking at airflow to keep people outside.
Virginia?
Thank you. When we first spoke about alternatives for this use, I was really discouraged at the thought that they might be installing canopies onto the historic fabric. So I am delighted that you have promoted the idea of the tent, because it is reversible and it meets all the standards of how to treat an historic property. And I appreciate your sensitivity to going in that direction.
Yeah, I agree with Virginia that it would really change the facade to mount anything like, permanent awnings on the front. And this is a good way to, try things out and see how it works to have a covered area in the front. And maybe a different kind of structure could be built in the future if you decide you really, like having that, but it could be separate from the building still.
I mean, the ultimate goal is a new senior center, but we don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yes, Virginia?
I'd just like to throw in the fact that the 3 rounded top doors are replicas from the original that I found up in New Hampshire. And previous to the senior center being redone over, it had regular garage type doors that allow the fire engines and machinery to come out straight forward. So the fact that the town rebuilt renovated and rebuilt the original front doors, I think is very impressive. So I'm glad they're staying and looking good.
Yeah. Are there any other comments or questions?
No.
Yeah, I think that's a great solution, and I hope you get to use the tent and have people in the building soon.
We do too. We miss them all, and I think they miss being with each other. So
Look forward to seeing people there again.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive by there and it looks so desolate right now.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm going to ask the senior members of the group. This isn't anything we need to officially vote on or anything. Just purely for information for us. Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's noted in the minutes. And I guess I would say, for the purposes of the minutes, that I would concur in Virginia's comments. I agree. It's a far better resolution to the problem that you're confronting. So I appreciate that also. So for the record, I would agree with that.
Great. Well,
Kevin, would it be helpful to have a letter of support or anything, or it's just you're doing this as a formality?
I'm really just doing it as a formality. I didn't want to surprise everyone when all of a sudden this a tent went up in front of this beautiful building.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate the work that you all do to keep this town so special. So
Mhm.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much, Kevin. And yeah, if you ever need anything in writing from us to support this, you can contact me or Virginia, and she'll get you in touch with me.
all right, well,
Yeah.
Again, I thank you very much, and thanks for
Okay.
sneaking me in
No problem.
to do
Thank you.
this.
Have a great
All right,
night.
thank you. Have a
right.
great evening, all.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Right. That is a nice facade on the old firehouse. I haven't been in that building yet, so
Oh,
Really?
I
Well,
need
that's because you've only lived here for 5 years.
Well, and it's also
not a
because she's so
senior yet.
young.
I know, I know.
All right. So next we'll talk about 186 Summer Avenue. Was it Amelia? Did you send around the? No.
I did, because this came up at Historic District last week before. And I went back and I checked my notes. So they came to see us in October and said they were going to rebid for 60 to 90 days after that. That was 6 months ago. And then maybe, Sam, you could pull up that picture that Everett sent. He went over and took a picture.
Yes.
And that part of the porch that had been supported when we talked to Dr. Littleton, that he said he was unaware of, but he would fix, is apparently still braced with a piece of wood. And that's what the picture shows.
Do that in a
Excuse me, Sam. Is there any way we can have Mr. Carr come back on, because this is the subject matter he wanted to be apprised of?
Yes. Hopefully. Oh, there you go.
There he is.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good.
We weren't sure if you could hear us. I'm going to try to share that photo. Just need to. I've forgotten how to share stuff. Yes, Mr. Carr?
From my point of view, my property, I'm at the downhill side of the property. I think that roof is still sagging. So I haven't been close enough to really see it, but it looks from where I see it, it's still sagging, and the support they put in there may not have solved the problem.
Well, what Dr. Littleton said at the time was that he was unaware of it and he would fix it. So apparently that did not happen. And so for us, because it also came up at Historic District, we might want to think about coordinating some sort of action with them to poke the people. Or I think Jonathan and Everett had thought that it might make more sense to sort of stagger so that we poke them and then the other commission pokes them in a couple of months or something. So I don't know what people think they want to do.
Yeah, Jonathan, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm so glad, Amelia, that you folks put this on, because I remembered it at one point when I was walking by it, and I was going to contact Sam to put it on the agenda or raise this in new business when I saw that she had already sent out the agenda. My first thought was, when I was going to raise it separate from this coming up at the Historic District, my thought was that we had invited them to come before us to describe what was going on. And you're right, he had mentioned that they were having difficulty with the bids, and the pricing had all gone up, and they were hopeful that within the next 3 months following that meeting that they would have some good news, et cetera, et cetera. And I think I had mentioned it at a meeting just before we turned the chair over to you, Sam, that what we should do, and in fact, I said it in the last letter to Littleton, was that we look forward to meeting with him again to review the results of that bid process. So what I would suggest, separate from the issue of the poking and the inspection question, is that, Sam, I think that we should send another letter to him similar to the other ones and invite them back to a meeting, just advising that they had said that they anticipated that they would be rebidding it and that they would have hopefully good news. And we had indicated that we would follow up after that. So we invite them back to our next meeting or to whatever is the most expedient meeting so that he can give us an update. Because frankly, I thought that was the most productive way to get at least some dialogue about what's going on and to get an update. We also perhaps could as well request an inspection, but I really think that what we ought to do is have them come back to a meeting to talk to them about it. If I recall, Littleton came in and he brought that other gentleman whose name I can't recall, and they did respond to our letter. We had requested that they give us some information about when they were going to be, when they had visited the site to make repairs. And although we asked for a dollar amount, they didn't give that, but we seem to at least have opened up some communication with them. So my thought was to suggest that we invite them into a meeting again. With respect to the question of the inspection, I think it was Everett's thought that it would be probably more efficient or effective to poke them at alternative times, because that at least keeps it rolling rather than have us both show up. I don't have a strong feeling about that, but I would strongly recommend that we invite them to the next meeting to get an update. I should also say, I'm sorry, Sam. It also isn't lost on me that that email correspondence was absolutely correct. We had also talked about the fact that the due date, or should I say the drop dead date, or the sunset date for the certificate of appropriateness is June of 2021. So technically speaking, that project is to be substantially completed, and the certificate of appropriateness, as I understand it, expires in June of 2021. So that gives the Historic District Commission the authority to tell them that they no longer have, I don't know how helpful this is, but at least there's another way in which you guys can get him to come to a meeting to revisit and to renew a certificate of appropriateness, at which time you can have the conversation with him to try to put some pressure on them about when they're going to complete it.
Yeah, Amelia, do you know what does happen on the doomsday when the thing runs out? Or
I think Virginia would probably know this better than I.
go ahead.
Well, unfortunately, we've never gone through such a convoluted process with this developer. So I really don't know. I think we need to look at the regulations again to see if it is renewable, or do we start from scratch? But I was very concerned when I saw that the date is forthcoming for the expiration of the certificate of appropriateness.
Virginia, just to add on to that, the certificate of appropriateness says that it's to be substantially completed within 2 years of the first issuance of the building permit, and that was in June of 19. And then it says the HDC may extend such 2-year period at the request of the applicant for good cause shown.
Yeah.
Is it worth asking the town, I'm not sure who in the town, maybe town council, to advise both groups of, kind of what we might be able to do next? Or I know we had talked with town council at one point a long while back when we were signing the RHC signed the agreement, but
That seems like that always takes a long time
yeah,
because they don't let us talk to that guy directly. I'm wondering if we send, basically simultaneous letters where this commission says, hey, you said you're going to have bids 3 months ago, what's going on? And HDC sends a letter that says, hey, you're about to run out, what's your plan?
Yeah.
And if that shakes something loose, and then maybe in June we could try to have a
joint.
a joint meeting,
Yeah.
because in May here, we are obviously going to be booked with the other hearings.
Yep.
What do you think, Virginia?
I agree. I think that'll be a good solution.
Yeah, I'd be willing to draft a letter and ask for some input on that, and then maybe we could, I don't know, are you, I've forgotten who's taken over as chair for the HTC.
Pino has.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have a meeting next week.
So I could draft something and try to get it off, we could compare letters, but I like the idea of asking what is your plan, since the agreement's going to run out, and we can say, please come and tell us what's going on with the project.
Mr. Carr, did you have anything you would like to add to this conversation?
No, I was just trying to update myself on what's happening.
Yeah.
Nothing is the
I know.
answer. Nothing.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I agree with everything that is being discussed, but I would still strongly like to have them in front of us. Whether or not that's a joint meeting, I'm not sure it has to be a joint meeting, but rather than just ask in a letter, please tell us what's going on, and have them respond in written correspondence without the ability to effectively ask questions about that. So I'd like to at least invite them to either the May or the June meeting.
Yeah, when I suggested a letter, I think, I would definitely outline our concerns and ask them to come to our next meeting and in person tell us what's happening, for sure. It's a crazy. Virginia?
I would urge us to hold a meeting in June, because of May is Preservation Month,
Yep.
and they hardly should get a nod on Preservation Month. Plus, we have the other hearings and things going on in May, unless we had another separate meeting for them.
Yeah. Well, tonight we could decide on our June meeting date, and I can make sure that they know they're invited to come to that meeting. Yeah. I think, sir. Oh, Jonathan?
I'm sorry. The only thing that I would add is I do think that the Historic District Commission should be proactive about figuring out what position the Historic District Commission is going to be positioned to take with respect to them. I don't know, and maybe Amelia, regrettably, it does involve a conversation with town council, but I don't know whether it's good or bad, and I think it may be advisable to get town council's thoughts about this, to have the certificate of appropriateness expire in June of 2021 and not have anything happen or have happened, which is going to be the case with respect to that property. I don't know where legally that leaves us, or more significantly, where legally it leaves them. And I do think it makes sense to have a proactive conversation with town council. And to that end, this is just me talking, but I would suggest, I forget who the counsel was from Ray Miari's office, but I contacted him directly myself on more than one occasion with respect to issues that we were working on, and he was perfectly content to get back to me directly. And I would strongly encourage, unless and until, I would say, somebody says that we can't or shouldn't do that, I would strongly encourage you, Amelia or Pino, to reach out and ask to have a conversation or a Zoom meeting with them, because I really don't think this is something that the HDC should be hearing in terms of a legal position through somebody at town hall. I think it's something that you folks should be communicating directly and not through a third party with town council about. And I would urge you folks to try to do that.
Is there anything else? You know, Mr. Carr, we're continually putting this property on our agenda, continually wondering what's happening to it. But we are have been doing what we can to nudge them along, and hopefully something will happen soon. We're hoping. But
Keep me on the agenda mailing list, please.
oh, sure.
Yeah, can I just add for Mr. Carr's benefit one other thing, Sam? If he hasn't already gotten this or wasn't already aware of this, because it may be helpful, particularly for folks in the neighborhood, and take this for what it's worth. I'm simply communicating what he told us at that meeting in October. But we had invited them because we were unhappy with the fact that nothing had been happening and we hadn't heard anything. We had invited them to come to a meeting back in October of 2020 to give us an update as to what was going on. And basically, and other people jump in here if I'm misrepresenting what he said, but basically what he said was that after the pandemic hit, that had a twofold adverse effect on their objective for the property. And again, I say take this with a grain of salt. But what he said was that they were financially set back as a result of the pandemic, and that it put them in a difficult position to contemplate moving forward. And he also indicated that they had put the work out to bid. I believe he said on more than one occasion, and came back with bids that were far higher than they had anticipated. So that fact, coupled with what he was expressing as the financial hardship that had happened as a result of the pandemic, they were struggling to keep this on a schedule. But he did indicate at that meeting that they were going to put it back out to bid, as Amelia pointed out, at either the end of 2020 or the very beginning of 2021. And he expressed the hope that they would get back some bids at that point that they would be able to address. So that I just wanted you at least to be aware of that. That's what was communicated to us.
Thank you.
Amelia?
Mr. Carr, if you could give me your email address, then I can make sure you know when we're meeting about this.
dhcar
Yep.
99
Mm-hmm.
at gmail.com.
At Gmail. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. See, next I was going to give an update on the historic inventory. In addition to the historic inventory meetings, I don't have a better way to put that, but
We understand.
next month's meetings. The first, Jonathan kindly gave me a nice outline of what the things that have to happen before these. And with Amanda's help, we got the first, there's an initial letter that had to go out saying we were going to consider the house for inclusion, and then a certified letter that needed to go out after that, telling the owners the date of the hearing and whatnot. And all that's been done. Unfortunately, I misheard Virginia and didn't check. And I wrote to Mr. Grant instead of Mr. Brandt.
Oh,
But I did, I know, I talked to him today.
good.
Or I think last night. And so I apologize for not double checking on that, but he's planning to come to the meeting.
Oh, good.
And then Amanda's going to work on, she's getting the official abutters letters, and then she's got the notices and whatnot. So we're working to get all that stuff out. Yeah, I was having trouble with getting my letterhead to look right. Every time I try to use a template, someone from town hall sends me, it looks funny. But if anyone else needs to send an official note from us, Amanda will, if you just want to send her text, like the body of a letter, she'll plunk it in to the letterhead and do things like that. I sent her my signature, said I can take a PDF of your signature and put that in there too. So that's going to come in handy, I think, just so you guys know about that.
Good.
Oh, Virginia.
Did you get his address corrected as well? In the email, he said his name and address was incorrect.
I went and looked at what I sent Amanda, and the right address was there,
Oh,
the body of the letter, but I sent her things and she was updating the letterhead, and I wonder if something got misconstrued. But I explained to him that, yes, that we didn't switch the name of the address in the letter. He said, I thought that's probably what happened.
okay,
So,
good.
I will, I think next time maybe I'll have Amanda send me her final copy of something before it goes out. And then that way I can do another double check. Yes.
And that would also be good for our files as well. So,
sure. Yeah.
And would you please take down that picture of 186 Summer Ave? I don't like looking at it all the
sorry.
time.
I can stop that now. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Better. So now I can access my other folders here.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I was looking at all of our faces and forgot that. So that's what I have for the hearings next month. Is there anything else anyone can think of that I should be thinking about, or think I'll probably talk with you, Jonathan, soon, and maybe get a better sense of what we need to say, and how the hearing will go.
Sure. I don't know. I mean, I Virginia, you may or Charlene may know more in terms of, as I said before, I don't think we need to make this as formal a process as the other ones were. What I had thought when it was going to be back in April was I was just going to read some information off of the Form Bs. I don't think we have to make this particularly formal or dramatic. So yeah, but I'm certainly available to talk anytime.
Yeah, I'll walk through that. That's what I was envisioning. We kind of read through the information we have on each house, and then we'd go ahead and ask. I guess we have to probably there's members of the public ask for their input. Any letters show up, and then we just vote on it. So
yep.
And I think that we have text for the voting. Do we have text for that? I know we do with a demolition delay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have like a line for.
We've never done it, so I'm not aware of that, but it shouldn't be that hard to put that together.
Yeah, I could write something up, and then we could get that to Amelia ahead of time too, which will make the minutes.
Yeah.
A little easier.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
All
And
right.
if you,
Go ahead.
if you want, if there's going to be reading of something and you want to split that up, I'm happy to
Okay.
take on something like that. So you don't have
That
to.
would be nice if we each do a different property.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you'll won't have to listen to me talk the whole time. But all right. That sounds good.
Whoops, sorry.
Is there anything? Yeah.
So who's taking care of the legal notice? Is the staff doing that?
Amanda has them. Yeah.
Okay.
And she knows the schedule when they need to go out. So
Good.
I've been kind of in pretty regular contact with her. Yeah, she's in town hall every day, like at 8 to 2 or something, or Monday through Thursday. So she's pretty easy to get a hold of.
Good.
Yeah.
We do need 4 affirmative votes at that meeting. So I know we already know the date, but just so that everybody's aware, it's pretty important that we all hold that date.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Meetings. Should we go over the letter to the property owners next? There's nothing else on that.
Mhm.
Yeah. A little segue. Yeah. How many of these will be going out? 300 some? If we,
I think
There's
so.
about, the last time I tried to count them, and I may not have it completely accurate because I just counted off for the list, which includes, I believe, the historic, like the Woburn district and that area, but it's roughly 355 are on the list.
I like the letter. There's, a few things I like how you highlighted the preservation month. So it kind of gives us a good reason to be sending them something now and letting,
Mhm.
we're adding more houses. And then there's a nice bit about our link to the demolition delay marker. I think, Jonathan, you were planning to get a hold of the folks who make the markers to just make sure they're still available.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm glad you reminded me of that. I have and I did, and they are still in business and look forward to hearing from us. So
Oh, good.
that's good news.
In case we're inundated.
Sorry?
In case we're inundated, we wanna.
Yeah. One comment that I just called up the letter and I don't know, Amelia, I know when you and I talked about this with some edits, I don't remember whether the version of it that I last sent to you, and I'm not even sure that I remember seeing it. I know you sent it around, but in the paragraph talking about the historic house marker program, I had thought that should be in bold or somehow highlighted, just so it kind of jumps out. And I can't remember whether that's in the draft of the letter that you
No,
have.
this is your draft, so.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um,
And
So
is
you
it
want,
highlighted? I mean, is it bolded?
no, you,
Okay, because I bolded it in mine, and that's what I thought. It was after the conversation, and I don't know whether folks like this idea or not, but since we added a fair amount more to the narrative, and obviously, these people, I'm sure, will read through the whole letter, but I thought after the fact that in that third paragraph that talks about the administering the historic house marker program, in the version that I have after you and I talked, Amelia, was I put in bold either that whole, I actually put in bold just historic house marker program. So it jumps out a little bit so that when the people see the letter, that'll at least catch their eye. And I would suggest that we do that in the letter we send them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
And then that kind of brings their eye into into that part of it and not so much on the prior paragraph.
Right.
because we want them to know it, but we don't want to poke them in the nose, is what you're saying, Charlene?
Yep.
Or we don't want them to read the nice letter and then not catch the fact that we are asking them to get the historic house markers.
Yeah. Yep.
The only thing I might add at the very beginning is, as you may know, because I think some people aren't going to know they're on the historic inventory.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sure.
And also, and then in the second paragraph, as you know, this bylaw, I don't think anybody's going to know what the bylaw is. And that, I don't know if we need to say,
As you know.
as you know.
Yeah.
We don't want to say,
Right.
we're telling you because you don't know, but just leave.
So the first time the phrase appears as a may, and the second time it appears, strike it.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. But I like how you characterize the bylaw. It's kind of a nice and short, but kind of captures what we're able to do.
Mhm.
I was talking with someone who's on there, the Littleton's town of Littleton's historic commission, and they have a 12-month demo delay. So I was asking her a little bit about her experience with that, and they run into a lot of the same kinds of problems. it's hard to, once something's bought, you know, especially if there's a builder or a developer, it's hard to kind of stop that train of the building coming down, but
Hmm.
we're all out there.
So
Yeah.
I will make the changes to the letter. And then I should send it to you, Sam, and you'll talk to Amanda. You want me to talk to Amanda?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Maybe we'll play. Is there a time? Do we want to try to get it out for first week of May, or just even before the first week of the last bit of April?
Well, I should think we want to do it before the hearings, because otherwise I would have to change the tense of that
Yeah.
second paragraph.
Yeah. All right, I'll work with Amanda and try to maybe get it to people around the 1st of May. Jonathan?
Since this is going to be, I'm guessing it's going to come out of our budget to pay for this, although I'm not sure I want to suggest to Amanda that it should. No, you're saying no?
No, usually they use the CPDC budget for the mailings.
Oh,
Okay. The only reason I was asking, that's good to know, Virginia, thank you. But I guess what I was, actually that gives me pause in terms of what I was suggesting, because I was wondering if it is something that we're gonna have to expend, should we somehow have in our record for the minutes that we authorize this
Yeah.
expense out of our budget? I don't know, Virginia, what do you think?
I think we should just go ahead and let the CPDC take care of it. And if they don't, then they'd come back to us and then we could verify it and vote for it.
The only problem is that would be after the month of May.
It'll still be within our fiscal year, though.
True. I guess I don't know, and I'm sure Charlene, you don't either, in terms of how the budget stuff works. I just don't want.
Yeah.
I trust you, but I don't want to be in a position where somebody says to Sam in the middle of May, have you guys authorized this to come out of your budget? And you know, we have not yet authorized it, and they say to us, well, then we can't send it out till, you know, I don't know that they would do that, but I just don't want to be in that position. That's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it would automatically come out of the account if it was ours. But now that Virginia reminded me about CPDC paying it. Yeah, I would think that we don't need to do anything right now.
Okay.
yeah. I know we need to authorize to if one of us wants to pay for something
Mm-hmm.
for the group.
Yeah.
It seems like it might be a different process if it's coming, you know, they could always take it out of our budget if they need to,
Yeah, and you just reminded me.
whether or not we want to.
Yeah, and you just reminded me, we will have to pay for the legal notice in the
Hearings.
paper as well. And we don't, I remember the only hearing that I can remember that we did where we had to pay for it was the rules and regulations. And we never had a vote on that either. So
Right.
I guess it's, never mind, as
Yeah.
Gilda Radner would say.
Yeah. I was wondering, I'm gonna ask Amanda too, if that amount of envelopes, if she can get help, or if it's something we're gonna have to help with envelope stuffing and whatnot, so.
Mhm.
Um,
We have some teen hands, right, Samantha? Twin teen hands who could help with that?
Mhm.
If they would wash their hands more frequently. I find handprints all over my house. Oh my God. That's true, yeah, we can.
Mhm.
We got this whole dining room table here.
Yep. We
But,
could split them up if we need to.
Right.
Yeah, if
Right.
it looks like, you know,
Yeah.
we need help. I wonder if the town has a little, they make these gadgets that fold paper.
Yeah.
Right.
So they may even have something like that, and it might just be like actually just putting the folded piece right in the envelope.
Yeah, I mean, Laura sends out a ton of stuff, or used to send out a ton of stuff. It's now all email, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Anything else on our letter to the home?
I was just thinking, do we need to take the file that has all the addresses in it and take out everything but the houses to give to Amanda for the list? Or because the file that's on the website, that's the inventory houses, includes not just single family houses, but also commercial spaces, multifamily houses, you know, the condos.
Demolished.
Right.
Right. So does somebody need to work through that for her, do you think?
I will ask her if that's something she needs us to identify.
What are the commercial properties?
I don't know. I just remember when I was trying to get a sense of how many houses we were talking about, I just went through, I made my own copy of the document and then I just removed a bunch of lines, the
Yeah.
ones that didn't say house or whatever the term that's used.
Right,
Yeah.
residents.
It just seemed like there was a bunch of stuff there that, well, you know, for example, the Chronicle building is on it, the Ace Art is on it,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. And
Well,
we're
I guess
obviously not going to be sending letters to those folks.
Right, and you're right about that, but if there are other commercial properties that are that are not about to be demolished or have already been demolished, those commercial property owners might want to have a house marker too, or a historic
Oh.
structure marker. I mean, that's why I was asking, are there any? Yeah, because you're right.
Well, yeah, there's the post office
Yeah,
and churches and things. A church might.
well, the
Who
post
knows?
office might have a nicer marker coming up soon, thanks to Virginia.
Oh, good.
But anyhow, just a thought. If there are other commercial properties,
Mhm.
I can't think of any. But anyhow, Amelia, you raise a valid point. Somebody's going to have to work through that list to assist Amanda, or at least have a conversation with Amanda about what she needs.
Yeah, it may be worth sending a slightly amended letter that just says your property to the non-homeowners.
Your historic property.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Here it
Do you
is.
still have that document, Amelia, where the list
Yes,
without those properties?
yes, but I would want to double check it because for some reason in the column that says what the property is used for, there isn't an entry in every cell. In many places, they're just quotation marks. So when I was taking stuff out, I'm not sure I was careful enough to take out just the ones that don't have people living in them. So I would need to go back and do it again, which I'm happy to do if that's
Okay.
what we decide.
Yeah, I'll check with Amanda first and see what she needs.
Okay.
And then I can get back to you guys on that. There may be, yeah, it'd be nice to know, to maybe just have those lists, like a separate list of the commercial properties.
Hmm.
Just somewhere, so we have it. Is our inventory, it's an Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Okay, so we could have another table that just lists those for whenever we want to look up that again, instead of having to do it. Okay. Moving on.
Mhm.
Oh, the utility box. I want to thank Jonathan and Virginia for spending all that time with Terry, whose last name I can't remember.
Date.
Terry Date, and the photographer.
Yeah.
I had to do a Vanna White impression. I don't know. At one point we were standing next to the box and they asked the two, myself and Franklin, to do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I sent him Terry an email the next day to thank him and for doing that. And he wrote back a bunch of things, how he thought it was a great project and he seemed really jazzed up. So I think we'll get a good article. Virginia?
Do we have any idea when the edition will come out?
No.
I
And-
asked him that, and he was pretty vague about it. But I do know he's had some follow-up conversations with Sarah about if this house could talk, and he had a question or two through her for me, but he didn't mention when. But when I asked him, he originally had said I thought it was supposed to come out the end of last month, so I'm assuming it'll come out the end of this month, but I don't know.
And where can we find copies of it? Because we should at least get a copy to put in the archives.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is a hard copy. I mean, I know it's online. I don't even know. The only time I've ever seen it as a result of the interview with him, I went
Oh.
online to see it.
I've seen some copies, some hard copies, magazine
In the
style.
past, I have.
Mhm.
I have his contact information, or Sam, you have it as well.
I'll
You can
find
follow
out,
up with
yeah.
him once the article comes out
But
to get a
Amelia
copy.
wanted to say something?
For some reason, that magazine just shows up at my house. So
Ah.
Oh,
Wow.
cool.
snag it.
You're special.
I've
Do you
only,
get-
I don't know.
Do you get the Lawrence paper?
No.
I've only seen it at the orthodontist's office,
Uh,
which I haven't been able to go into for a year because you just have to like wait outside and send your children up there now.
Right.
And I did try to search online and I found it a little confusing to find the one that's for Reading. Well, first you always have to put Massachusetts in there.
Yeah, you get Pennsylvania, right?
Upper PA. But I'll keep our eyes peeled and I can,
Mhm.
but maybe in another couple weeks, if I haven't heard anything, I'll poke Terry and see if it's gotten on their schedule yet.
I have every expectation that Sarah,
Sarah.
as she is on top of everything, will be on top of that and will let
That's
us
true.
know.
Yeah.
But
And we could, if it's not a print edition, we could at least download and print a copy from the web and have at least a paper copy.
We should get an autographed copy from the author.
Even better. Did you guys have fun going around to all the boxes? And
I enjoyed it. It was great. I mean, it was a little chilly, but it was nice. And he was surprisingly informed about a lot of stuff and a lot of information and inquisitive. So I really am looking forward to the article. It should be pretty interesting.
Virginia?
Well, my only comment was that I think he could have been a little better organized, but other than that, he was interested and wanted to, he asked the good questions and all. So I think it will be a good product.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe that's something I could find out if we could get a link put up on our town webpage.
Mm,
Absolutely. That's a great
Yep.
idea.
mm.
Yeah, I think we could make more of our town website.
Yeah.
It was really nice that we have that link to the historic house marker, so we don't have to, so anyone who's interested can just go there and
Mhm.
have to then like send, an application to everyone or field a lot of emails asking for the application. So I think that's going to help.
Sam, there's also I don't know if people know this. I didn't know it. There's a town Facebook page. And
Okay.
I had when it came out last year, and now I'm drawing a blank on his name, Matt
Pinellas.
Cornelis, called me at the time it came out and put a little blip up on the Town of Reading Facebook page, which I didn't know was there. So you may want to try to get it up on that also.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right. Okay. Now, Virginia wanted to talk about the merit certificates.
Right. The Historical Commission has a whole set of criteria for awarding these certificates or plaques that we have done in the past. And I could just read a little bit of it to you. Hi, Pino.
And we also have Robert Corwin. I saw joined us. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Samantha, how you doing?
Yeah, good. were you here about Summer Ave? I keep calling.
Yeah,
No, that was one of your first things, right? I think I missed that.
You did, but I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to give you a little synopsis. And then we can get back to Virginia's topic. It's basically nothing else has happened as far as we know. What is the document called with the HDC, the Certificate of Appropriateness?
Appropriateness.
Yes, which is the agreement made with them. One's out in June, so
Right.
both groups agreed to. Well, I think the HDC will probably be contacting the owner to find out what his plan is, and the historical commission is also going to contact him, ask him to come to our June meeting and tell us what's going on.
Okay.
We're hoping to have some more information then. And you can always check our agenda every month, gets posted a few days at a time.
Yep. No, I got it sent to me. So.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So that's our plan, is to hopefully they will come to our June meeting, and let us know, what the heck's happening.
Yeah. I know that they were at a meeting, 4, 5, 6 months ago.
Yes, it was
October.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically just, they just gave the same old, song and dance. Oh yeah, we're starting. So just curious. Yeah. With, obviously, living across the street from it, it's, it's been a little frustrating.
Yeah.
What about has anyone, and I don't mean to drag this on, but has anyone talked about at a minimum, having them remove the fence?
Go Virginia. Yep.
I think that's subject to the building inspector. And didn't we get the sense that it was obligatory that they have the fence there?
That's
yeah,
fine.
well, that was the previous building commissioner. I don't know what Glenn's position would be on it after all this time. It's a good question.
Because my understanding was that type of structure, is quote unquote temporary. And once it goes beyond a certain amount of time, it falls into some other category. And that, I thought there was some control that the town had over that, in dictating what they can or can't do with that, or can't just, it's been up there 3-4 years now.
They've owned it since 2016, November of 2016. So it's,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone obviously understands what its original intention was, but it has gone, that since that's never come to fruition, it just makes it worse, if you will. So
Yeah.
I don't know, who, unfortunately, I think, it's a slippery slope, so to speak. No one really knows, who has the authority sometimes. And then they always say, well, we're starting in, 3 months,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. So,
But, yeah, I believe the fencing is something that the building inspector requires. And I think probably when they first applied for their permits, they went ahead and put the fencing up. And
right. Yep.
now their permits expired, so I'm not sure if they may be required to take it down at this point. It's something we can ask them about when they come to the meeting.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll come to our June meeting.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Right.
So, but so you think should I, circle back with inspection services folks and see what they have to say? Just.
Yeah, if you'd like to talk with the building department.
Yeah.
Why they need to, are they required to keep it up, or can they take that down? I'm sure it can't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you would think someone would have authority to tell them what to do with it.
Yeah, and maybe the permit only allows the fencing up. And if they don't have a permit, maybe they do have to take it down or
Well-
get a permanent permit. Virginia,
Sorry,
just
Jonathan.
Virginia. Go ahead.
No problem.
I think there's a concern in my part anyways, that if you remove the fencing, you're going to have a unoccupied building that is subject to fire or any number of catastrophes. So the fence is a perimeter right now. I don't care for it myself, but it may be serving a purpose. And we always have to think about what the ramifications are if we change something. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand that, but I mean, yeah, it's a minimal barrier. If someone wanted to get in there and do something, it's not that difficult to get through. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, I hear what you said, especially because it's unoccupied. That's just another level of frustration.
Yeah. Jonathan, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it is a double-edged sword. I mean, I do share Virginia's concern for a whole number of reasons, particularly because there's the school directly behind it. So although kids may not be that much in school, but it is fairly easily accessible. So the fence does provide some barrier, but I agree, it is incredibly unsightly, and I can understand why abutters and neighbors would really not be happy with it. My recollection or my understanding is that it originally goes up. It may also be required by the building inspector while a project is under construction. But my belief is that the reason it went up initially is because there is a requirement that the work for which a permit has been issued must commence within a certain period of time since the issuance of the permit, and if not, the permit is invalidated. And construction people and contractors will often throw up a fence just to say that they have initiated the work on the property. So I don't know whether that was the reason why it went up, or whether or not Glenn would have any feelings one way or the other about whether it should stay or not. I do agree with you, Virginia, that at least it provides some barrier, and I just wish we could all do something to move this project along.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I just know everyone around here is, the sight of it is just, it's annoying.
No question.
At the very least, So yeah, anything, I mean, now, do you guys, because you're the historical commission, right?
Right.
You're not the historic district commission.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
although some of us serve on
Yes.
both.
Yes, we did. So who does either one of those commissions have more authority than the other, or different authority, or how does that kind of play out?
The HDC has more authority than we do.
Mhm.
Yeah, the HCC wrote the original agreement with
Right.
the owner, and they have say over, I think, enforcing that. The
Right.
Historical Commission, we had to sign off on the changes to the deed, I believe.
Well, there is a preservation restriction agreement that applies to that property, and both commissions are signatories to that, as well as the select board.
Yeah, and our authority is not as great. We can request to inspect the premises, and we can ask them to come to meetings and explain where the project is at, but we don't have, beyond that, there's not a whole lot that the Historical Commission.
Gotcha.
advises.
Okay. All right.
You know, I should also, I just wanted to add, I just remembered, it may or may not go to Mr. Corwin's question, but the CPDC also has some input, has a lot of input into this process, since they had to issue the CPDC decision. And it just occurs to me, I have no idea, when we talked about the fact that the Historic District Commission's certificate, it does expire and will need to be revisited in
Right.
June of 2021. I have no idea what what happens with respect to any expiration date on CPDC's decision. So I forgot about that, but
Mhm.
that may
Right.
be another lever.
Yeah,
Good.
great.
The more the merrier.
Well,
Yeah,
we need stronger levers, not just
Yeah,
more levers.
that is true. That is true.
yeah, it may take a deluge of town entities pestering them to finally get them to do something, so.
Well, I don't know. They've been, hanging out this long. They don't seem to really care too much. So,
Well, the only, I mean, it's not consolation, but we were at least somewhat consoled by the fact that they are paying property tax on it, so we weren't
Yeah.
aware of that.
yeah,
But that
Yeah.
doesn't warrant keeping it like this
right,
at all.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But well, yeah, keep
Okay.
looking at the agenda and we can, if you find out anything about the, the fencing and the inspector, or if I do, can let each other know.
Yeah, I'll circle back with those guys and just see how they try to beg off on that. I'm sure, but we'll see what we can do.
All right, thanks.
So excellent, guys. I appreciate your time.
No, oh, no problem.
And I'm sorry I was late. I really didn't. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just coming in to listen and see
Oh,
what's
that's all right.
going on.
We were just changing topics, so it was no problem. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I will beg off and.
Okay, you're
Take
welcome
care.
to stay for the rest of the long.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, but I'm now being tugged the other way. So.
Good luck.
So, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Talk to you.
Goodbye. Okay, Virginia, sorry to
That's,
stop you. I
that's
thought
fine.
it was easier to.
I think we have to be flexible through Zoom anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fine. Yeah, good. So I'll just read the purpose and the eligibility, and then I would like to nominate the post office square for a certificate of merit, and also 52 Sanborn Street, which is the schoolhouse condominiums. And I'll give my justification afterwards. So bear with me. This won't take too long. The purpose is to recognize individuals or groups making significant contributions to historic preservation in Reading. To convey recognition and appreciation only will not constitute an endorsement of any service or product. Eligibility. Activity must relate to a property located within Reading town limits. Property can be land, structure, object, or vista. And then we actually had one other statement in there that, but it was deleted in 2001 regarding the Secretary of the Interior. So then there's a list of procedures that how you go about it. You have to write a letter to the nominees and give them a 10 days to respond that they will accept or decline. And so with those in mind, I'd like to suggest that Post Office Square certainly came out with, no, I have to carefully use my words here, with saving the facade and the essence of the original historic post office structure. And new construction was primarily to the rear of the building, which allows the building to keep its own identity. And then on the schoolhouse condos, with the devastating fire, they chose to rebuild and keep the same exterior components, thus preserving the early structure that was on the inventory. And just as a quick aside, I noticed in the newspaper, CPDC is holding a public hearing on an all alcoholic license for Haven Street. I'm going to need my glasses. but it's doing business as the Common District Meeting House at 136 Haven Street. Now, this is for the commercial area that is applying for the alcohol license, but I really was appalled at the name that they chose. The doing the business as the Common District Meeting House. Well, that's great for a common meeting area, but we also have a common historic district in town, which is the Common. And I just think that the Common District is a poor misnomer, and I don't know whether anyone else feels that way, and we should try to attend the CPDC meeting, the hearing. That's up for discussion with you folks. But anyways, those are my two nominations. And we have a printed certificate that we sometimes give to people, but I think I sent around a picture of a wrapped up bronze plaque that we gave to the MF Charles building a few years ago, as well as Old South Church. And when I had casually mentioned this to Jonathan, he reminded me about the plaques. And because these are both public buildings or have public spaces, I think it would be advisable to expend the money and get the bronze plaques for if people agree to honor these to what I think are worthy structures. Thank you.
Great. So the Charles building was one you've done before. And what was the other building you mentioned?
Old South Methodist Church for
Yeah.
doing the steeple
Oh, yeah.
renovation,
Yeah.
restoration.
No, I think the more historic plaques we can have around town, the better. And I think I agree that they're both, worthy recipients. One question was, do you recall about how much it costs to have those plaques made? Or did you
No,
Yeah.
I don't recall, and I couldn't find out how much they cost either. I guess we'd have to look through the records for 2013 or 14, whichever it was. But I don't have anything here at home that
Okay.
would let me know. And I did email Carl McKnight, who was chairman at the time, but he didn't respond. So he probably doesn't have a recall on that either. So,
You know where we had them fabricated?
do you remember?
Me?
Yeah,
I think it was before my time. I was in the
No.
picture when we gave them the
right.
plaque, but I think the decision to give them the award, I don't remember being a participant in that.
Hmm.
But no, I don't remember, and I certainly could have forgotten that.
That's me. There are a number of places that make bronze plaques. Usually in the historic magazines, they advertise. So I don't know whether there's anybody local that does it.
I could ask Miss Dave Tragorth, who's doing the
Who?
one with Case Art.
Okay.
That might be
Mhm.
Jonathan.
Yeah. I just, well, first, Virginia, just to get it on the record, it's the postmark, I think is what its name actually is, but
Yes.
the building is, I think you said Post Office Square, but
Slip of the tongue.
I just want to make sure we have the right thing on the bronze.
Right.
But I totally agree, and I agree with what you said, Sam. I mean, the more of these markers for deserving efforts and structures, the better in this town. So I agree. But I would like to ask Virginia, did you send around those guidelines? Do I have those guidelines? Because I would just like to see that.
I don't believe so.
Were they something that is that a historical commission protocol?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sam, you sent those to us.
I was looking for it through my email, but I couldn't find it.
I'll send it to you, Jonathan.
All right, thanks.
Let me
But
see.
regardless, I endorse, but in both cases, but I would also say that as part of the justification is the I don't know how to say this, but the cooperation, the cooperative efforts that both applicants or however we want to describe them, property owners, their efforts to cooperate and their own personal commitments or professional commitments to doing so, I think also warrant they're getting this recognition.
Can you say that again, Jonathan?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I hate you a little bit right now.
I kind of stumbled over it the first time, but I can't recall exactly what the factors were that Virginia mentioned, but I just wanted to add that that they should be recognized for their individual commitments to the historical preservation process and their cooperation in working with us to properly preserve the historical integrity and value of these structures.
Yeah.
That's different than what I said, but don't ask me for a third time.
What, any other thoughts? Or I think it's a good thing to pursue and doesn't take a ton of effort on our part, and is good to acknowledge what the two folks have been doing and maybe encourage other folks to who are redoing buildings to look at the history and keep it going.
Right.
Yeah, Virginia.
So should we have a motion? And if so, now that Pino is here, I probably should be degraded and not allowed to vote.
If you're in, just stay on. It doesn't matter to me. I don't know what the rule is for that.
Yeah, Jonathan, do we have to, should Virginia stay our voting person for the night?
I don't think so, but the last time I entertained this, one of our commission members immediately resigned after the meeting.
All right, I'm out. I'm done.
I think it can go either way. I mean, I think that from my standpoint, the way I would interpret it is that the agency, the board or the commission may continue to have the associate member elevated if the matters that were under discussion by them are continuing. So it could go either way, quite frankly.
If she already voted, just continue on.
I'm inclined to just keep things as they are.
Yeah.
Pino's not running off. So we're good. I'll make a motion that we, oh, Charlene. Good. Oh, I can't hear, you're on mute. Nope.
Is there a cost? I think there was a plaque that we gave to the MF Childs building.
Yeah,
So should we incorporate the cost into the motion?
but we don't know what the cost is, Charlene.
Well, can we go up to?
Well,
We're getting close to the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
Charlene, do you know how much money we have? Because my only concern about that is and again, I don't know how this works out, but I don't. If it costs more than we have in this budget, then that
It
may
won't.
be an issue. It won't.
I don't. Yeah, I think that we're going to be all set, but I don't. I meant to earlier today look at where we were, and that didn't happen. So, but if we have the motion and it costs more, we don't have to spend the money, or we can, I think we could still spend it in the next fiscal year. If it's approved, we don't have to reapprove it, you know, the motion, because the motion isn't contingent on a fiscal year.
Right, and we could allocate more money at
Sure.
another meeting if we need
Yes.
more.
But I think it was a nice plaque that the MF Charles building has.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the church too, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
What's a good amount to,
my guess would be for 2 plaques to put a limit on $1,000.
that sounds good. It could be seed money, and if we need to make a deposit, you know, we could do that with the money from this year.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I also forgot, we have some additional funds from the grant that we got too.
Mhm.
Oh, great. All right, I'll make a motion to award merit certificates and produce a plaque to Postmark Square and the schoolhouse condominiums. Is there a,
I'll second.
Second.
is that a good thing? Oh, and with the authority to spend up to $1,000 towards the 2 plaques.
Mhm.
Second.
All right. All right, well, oh, I gotta do the roll call vote. So Amelia,
Yes.
I vote yes. Jonathan,
I vote yes, and Amelia, I found the document, so you don't need to send it to me.
I heard you did, but okay.
Okay.
Virginia,
Yes,
and Charlene.
Yes.
All right. So Virginia, would you be willing to dig into your archives for or to compose a new letter to send out?
yes, I'll be happy to.
Do a draft?
I'll give it to you. Mhm.
Yeah, and then I can have maybe at the next meeting.
Yeah, it would be wonderful to do it in May as well because of May Preservation Month, but we may not have enough time to get the plaques done in all,
If
so.
we could notify the 2, send the letter out and see
Mhm.
what they think,
Mhm.
you know, we can at least be getting the word out on that.
Yep.
All right. All right. Oh, and Virginia reminded us all that we need to thank our past members. And you said that usually we would give them a framed poster. Oh, and what's that?
Oh, that's it.
Oh, very nice.
And I have
Okay.
that in my computer, so
Oh, good.
I type them up and I'll get them to you, Sam. But we usually get a small plastic frame like at dollar store and just put them in that. And the chairman signs them. So if that's agreeable with everybody, that's what we've done in the past.
Didn't you also reference a framed picture?
Yes. We have posters in the archives that we used to frame and give out as well. But I was thinking we could just give them the poster and let them frame it however they wanted to. If you want, do you want to see what that looks like?
Yes, please. I think I've seen it before, but I forgot. If you.
I have to take it off my wall. I'll be right back.
Just point the computer to the wall.
Yeah,
We don't know what wall she's going for.
That's
right.
true.
We can hear her, so she's not too far away.
I'm in the living room.
I'm trying to figure out what that picture is behind where she was sitting.
That's her.
That's her from the Mass
That's a poster
Historical
that
Commission?
She got
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't do that to brag. I only do it because it's in my office.
You know, you see all these, I watch, MSNBC or CNN or, and they have these people that they're interviewing, and they have always their bookshelf with books that they have written. And so Virginia has behind her the poster from her award. Oh, okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
this is, it has all the old buildings in pen and ink by Mr. McCaffrey. It was done for the 375th, but it makes a very nice wall decor.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's nice.
That is. So I move that we pay up to $10 to frame the certificates for the appreciation of past members.
I second that.
Okay,
Did you put a dollar amount on that?
up to $10.
Okay,
Does that,
Yeah, you can get the cheapo frames at the dollar store for $1 each. It's whether you want to frame the big posters or not, and they do cost more, so.
yeah. Yeah, maybe just the posters. I don't know.
yeah.
I think a roll poster you could, and if they want to frame them up really well,
Right.
good.
The frame you have, Virginia, looks like it's more than a
Yeah,
$10 frame.
your frame is.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Yeah, and folks may want to do that on their own.
Yeah.
So we have the motion and the second. We need to vote.
Wait, who seconded?
I did.
Okay,
All right. I'll go through and start with Amelia.
yes.
I vote yes. Jonathan,
Yes.
Virginia,
Yes,
and Charlene.
Yes.
I'm just going in order and how you guys appear on my little Brady Bunch screen here. That's just right now.
So who, that one was for Ron, so Ron and Jack, that's who it
yes,
is?
I've got,
Who two?
I've
Yeah.
got one for Jack too.
I
Was
could
that not?
vote
Oh, yeah, okay. That was for both though, right? That motion?
Yes.
yes. Virginia, if you'd be willing to frame those certificates, I would compose a letter and send a draft out to everyone.
Okay. My issue is that I'm not going out
Oh,
in
you're
the
not coming in.
public too much. So
Or I could get the
I went-
frames and bring them to you. We can,
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need to sign it, Sam, as chairman as well, so.
Or Sam, you could send her your signature as a PDF and she could put it in, or your children
She's
could help
already printed
you.
them though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll get the,
that's, I
I
think
don't,
it's
I
easier for me
get
to,
the certificates up to you, Sam, and then
you could
somebody
drop,
can do it.
you could drop them off and you can see my greenhouse.
Okay, good. That sounds good.
I like that. Yeah, but thanks
Uh,
for,
Should I send this format to the RHC so it would be in our computer at the archives so that
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
do it again? Okay.
great. Is there anything else on this topic? We're good. Okay. So I have two things to that have been donated for the archive, and I think according to our new policy, we need to vote on whether or not we want to include it in our collections or not. So,
And excuse me, Sam, but I just got another piece to go with that temple scrapbook from Sarah Bucaccia. So I'll
Right.
show you that and we can include that too.
okay, yeah, she mentioned she found something else that belongs with it.
Right,
And
right.
so one is a postcard of the Highland School, which is the library.
Mm.
And it was written by Miss Elsie McLeod to Miss Elsie McLeod from Mrs. Taylor in 1914.
Oh, wow.
And there was a very sweet, nice letter that went with it. And they sent it to the North Reading Historical Society. Enclosed is a 1-cent postcard postmarked October 16th, 1914 of the Highland School in Reading, Massachusetts. The Rotograph Company, New York City, printed in Germany. It is. Hopefully you can use this postcard in some way so that people can enjoy it, perhaps for research, display, archive, and or educational purposes. Have a great day and God bless, from Alvin Shep in Plainfield, Wisconsin.
Nice.
I don't know what his connection is or how he got it, but like to make a motion that we vote to include this postcard in the town archive.
I
Second.
second.
Yep, Charlene's on.
Oh, Virginia?
And I'll amend it, your motion to
Oh.
include this document about the Memorial Park.
Okay,
To
that
go
goes,
with,
We haven't
well,
done that one
I
yet.
have,
right?
we're gonna vote separately on each thing.
oh,
So,
okay,
and I'm gonna, I'll just briefly show you guys the scrapbook for the folks who haven't seen it. Yeah. So it's,
all right, sorry.
I guess we could do them both.
Yeah, maybe do them all at once.
Let's do
Yeah.
I
that.
have something too.
Okay. Oh, awesome. All right. So I'll show you guys the scrapbook, including the other letter that Virginia has at her house. Oh, so we have the spine. It's in the bag. But, Mary Temple kept it.
Mary Temple, like Temple Street.
Yes,
Oh, yeah. And there's newspaper clippings. This is pretty interesting. There's a map of a plan for the park.
Oh,
All kinds of paths and greenery and things. A lot of things about, there's a lot in the newspaper about the park at the time. And
Is that what the whole scrapbook is about?
it's all
Memorial
about
Park?
the park. Yep.
Okay.
Was, I think, something for getting folks out on Community Day to work on the park. Yep, there's an article about people coming out to help out. So,
And that's from 1914 too, or somewhere around there?
well,
19.
19, so close to the articles. Oh yeah, there's another, this is a just a separate printed plan
Mhm.
of the park, which I think would be nice. And there's
The important thing about the park plan is that that was drawn by Mr. Manning, who was a big horticulturist here in town. He had a big nursery over on Vine Street and High Street area. And he, or else his son, I can't remember which, worked for Olmsted. So they had a good connection with Olmsted, and Olmsted may have helped in the design of that.
Cool. There was one more interesting tidbit. This looks to, it says copy, but it looks to be a copy of the gift of the park.
Right.
And there's a funny bit. And oh, there's a paragraph about the use of the land. Said land is to be improved and maintained as a public park, shall be laid out and ornamented with trees and shrubbery as a place for healthful rest, recreation, and amusement for people of all ages, with proper facilities for such children's sports as can be generally indulged in by them, and tend to their proper development and furnish them with amusement. But said land shall not be used as a playground for football, baseball, soccer, and kindred games, or any games that are in their nature hazardous, or require fenced enclosures, or tend to draw together crowds of people, or interfere with the quiet enjoyment of those whose homes are in the immediate neighborhood. I thought that was interesting. And I'm wondering how they got that basketball court built.
Well, the tennis
well, there was
courts,
a
right?
lot of controversy a few years back
Was there?
when they
Right.
wanted to put in some playing fields, but it was that paragraph that,
Mhm.
they said no.
Yeah, it says no fence enclosure.
Yeah.
And also within that scrapbook is a legal opinion from an attorney who said, make sure you make it listed as a park and not a playground, because parks are more open and all. I found that interesting to read
Huh.
too. So
Yeah.
it's a very comprehensive and good story about the development of the park.
Yeah.
Huh.
I, Charlene, what did you have to?
I just have, I told everybody before, I have that book on, it's all still all wrapped up. If This House
If
Could
this
Talk.
Oh, yes.
the talk.
So you guys already know about it, but we didn't go through the procedure of accepting it into the archives.
Okay.
So,
So I'll amend my motion to include Mary Temple scrapbook, the Highland School postcard, and the if these walls, wait,
If
these
This
walls,
House Could Talk.
sorry. I was working on this piece of artwork called If These Walls Could Talk. It's all neon, and I've and the book If This House Could Talk,
Yeah.
to include them in the town archive collection. Does that make sense, Amelia?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got
You
it.
write it more succinctly than I just said it.
Okay, so we're up to the vote then.
All right. Amelia,
Yes.
I vote yes. Jonathan,
Yes.
Virginia,
Yes.
and Charlene.
Yes.
All right. I will write thank you letters. I have Sarah's info, and then she gave me the name of the folks who it came from.
Yes, the Arsenal.
They're Arsenal. So when I saw her at our photo op, I asked if she could get me their address. So I will send them a letter as well.
Good.
They
Thank you.
live in
Georgetown, I think.
Yes, thank you.
The address is here,
Oh, great.
so
Oh, we've got it
I'll
too.
get that to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. I haven't been able to get into the archive much. I did go in between just after the last meeting. I had a few minutes in the morning, and we have about 30 copies of the Roof Tree book. So I need to check in with
Everett.
thank you. And find out who the folks are who want the book and figure out how to get paid and get them mailed out. So that's next on my task list for the archive. But there are more available if we suddenly get more demand for them. But Virginia?
And we found out that the original cost was $7.50.
Right.
And that the town clerk used to mail them out for us at their expense, but I don't know whether that'll still hold or not. So
Laura asked me to check in with Amanda for that sort of thing. So I'm gonna
okay.
when I know where they're headed, I'll figure out. Maybe we charge the folks for postage and
Right.
first.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, make it $15 or something.
yeah. All right. I have demo delay on our list. Is there anything new we want to talk about?
Yeah. I will tell you about my research from this month. First, I feel like I'm going for it. What I did this summer. So one interesting factoid, or sort of notorious factoid, we are the only town in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts ever to reduce our demo delay. I double checked with Chris Skelly, and he said he was absolutely sure of that in his 20 years, blah, 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 blah. So seems like we should work that in somehow.
Yeah.
The other thing was I was trying to understand how the demo delay came up to be reduced to begin with. So I poked around in the archives, and I talked to Charlene, and I talked to Virginia, and Virginia gave me some stuff. So this is what I pieced together. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it sounds like that after that time, around 2010, when the commission wanted to put a bunch of new houses on the inventory, and there was fussing about it from various people, including some recent guests to our meetings. The town manager, who was Peter, that crazy long name I can't
Heckenblackner.
pronounce. What is it?
Heckenblackner.
Yeah, so the last town manager put together a committee to rework the demo delay bylaw. And that's what went to town meeting. And included in that was a process by which members or people whose houses are added to the inventory can appeal. And we are also apparently the only town in the Commonwealth that allows that. Then also this reduced demo delay period came up. And the vote was really close, like 73 to 75 or something like that. So the reason I wanted to figure this out was because the way that Jonathan, you were kind of describing town meeting, it sounded like it was the Old West, and like anything could come up, and
Right.
you know, you don't know what's going to happen. They're going to shoot at you from this corner, and you're going to have to react on your feet. But it sounds like all this stuff was in writing ahead of time. And I did find a couple of letters that the commission wrote in advance of the town meeting at which this stuff will be voted on to town meeting members saying, you know, this is why we don't support this warrant or that warrant. So I at least was glad to know that we weren't going to get ambushed at the door, and that we will have an opportunity ahead of the actual discussion at town meeting to make our case in writing, and not only in the warrant, but also we can directly communicate with town meeting members to sort of try to get them on our side. And I also noticed that our recent visitor who does not like the demo delay is no longer a member of town meeting. Yes,
Okay.
because apparently this person had run for state office, although she did not win.
Oh.
So her better half is still a member of town meeting, but she is not. So maybe that is a good thing.
Yep.
So does that sound about right, Virginia and Charlene?
Very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
And then as I was doing this, Charlene, or rather Virginia gave me some material. I pulled and made copies of these letters that the commission has sent out at various times to homeowners and also to
Town meeting.
town meeting members. So we don't have to reinvent the language, and we can, you know, sort of adapt that, which is always helpful to me. So that's what I got.
Virginia?
I would like to add that this gray hair all is from that experience.
That is not good news.
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm not sure where we need to go next with research. Does anybody have anything that they think should be next on my list?
I wonder if there are how other states or nationally, how maybe might be interesting to see what other states do. I don't know how, find out.
What demo delays in other states are like?
Yeah, are there other states? How do they deal with these sorts of things?
But we always pushed it, the fact that Massachusetts is a very old entity, and that's why you have more historic resources to protect and all. So
Yeah.
And I like that line that I saw a couple of places about the historical buildings are a finite resource, and once they're gone, they're gone.
forever, yeah.
Right.
They're gone, they're gone. Mhm.
It's interesting to me that the town manager at the time got so involved with this. I thought they were supposed to be sort of an executive and not so involved in the town meeting stuff, politics of things.
I think that was unusual, but it also saves the bylaw, because otherwise I think we would have lost the whole kit and caboodle. So we had to, I think Charlene remembers, we had to give quite a bit in order to just still have a basic minimum, so.
Yeah.
And Virginia, I think I remember reading in that speech that you gave about your experience with this bylaw that sort of at the time the Peter H., whose name I can't pronounce, was interested in sort of making customer service sort of a, could you tell us about that a little bit?
I think they were trying to make the town proactive in for both business, and then it flowed over to the property owners as well. That I've gone blank. That's
You said
about as
something
far
about
as I can-
customer service, I think was the phrase that you used in that
Yeah,
speech.
they were trying to make town hall customer service friendly. Do you remember that at all, Jonathan?
No, I wasn't involved. I was only involved as a member of town meeting at the time, so I
Yeah.
wasn't involved in how it came forward.
But they were trying to make it more friendly for commercial use. They were trying to encourage businesses to come into town and people and.
Yeah, I think the idea was they didn't want to, they were trying to remove impediments or bumps, speed bumps or roadblocks rather than put any up. And, you know, it was that whole sort of undercurrent of, you know, interfering with people's abilities to do what they want with their home, you know, and who are you to be telling me, you know, what I can do with my home or what I can't do with my home. And the effort was to remove that kind of impediment to people's use of their property.
Right.
There are some good example properties that we can highlight when we're talking with folks. Like, I wonder if Summer Avenue, you know, that's made a big impact on their neighbors by having, and I wonder if there are other places where there's an old house that's gone and how it, maybe just talking to some of the folks nearby to see what just getting their opinions on what's it like now that this nice old house is gone and this other thing has gone up. Because I think people forget in the fear of, well, you can't tell me what to do, that like, well, but what you're doing with your property affects people around you to some extent. And a lot of folks in town agree, oh, isn't downtown lovely? And there's so many nice old houses. So.
Were there any houses that came down that there was any sort of public conversation about, oh no, we lost that? I mean, if Summer Avenue came down, obviously people are gonna fuss, but in the past, have there been any houses that were lost, that were lamented?
Not
Over which there was an
really.
uproar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people get used to what they see now.
The phase of McMansionization was an issue for a while, and then everybody decided, yeah, they like to live in big houses, so that kind of fell apart. But I mean, our big two successes, which I mentioned in that talk, is 409 Grove Street and 420 Franklin Street. But they took an enormous amount of work to have it happen. So.
And those are the successes to point to, period, right? As opposed, except that one barn that got moved someplace else, everything else has been lost.
There one on Salem that didn't end up getting knocked down.
That's true, but that wasn't under demo delay.
No, and we might have had an impact on that, but we don't really know because it didn't go into delay.
Okay.
Did Postmark ever go into delay? I forgot. That was like right around the time I was joining.
Well, we had to have a hearing.
Yeah.
If actually, if we hadn't had the strong words from Mass Historical. I'm not sure how successful we would have been. They had all the criteria written out for them that they had to keep certain things and all.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and yeah, and there was a restriction. There was a restriction on the property from the post office.
right.
I mean, that's the problem. What was the first one you said was on Grove Street? What was the second one that was saved?
Franklin.
420 Franklin Street used to be the the house that we
One
just
that
talked
should be
about.
red.
And
Yeah,
what was the resolution that allowed it to be saved?
we worked with the Conservation Commission because they had an input into man-made wetlands, and they wanted to tear down the old house and build 3 new ones. And so it took a lot of negotiating with everyone, and it was the strength of the Conservation Commission that really helped save the building as well. And they allowed 1 additional lot instead of 3 new lots. So
So there were restrictions on the ability to put up the 3 houses the restrictions existed because of conservation law?
yes, except for the old house, they wanted to tear that down too to make another lot. So there would have been a total of 3 lots.
Hmm.
But then they finally agreed, the developer agreed to keeping the old house and allowing 1 large lot. And
Did that include some input from Conservation Commission to allow that
Yes.
additional lot?
Mhm.
yes,
Okay, what I'm getting at is I'm trying to think of the. I mean, I'm looking at it from the bad side, the other side, that
Yeah.
you know, when we try to explain the success stories, you know, we were successful in keeping Grove Street, but that was largely because the town purchased or had property that they agreed generously to move this house to. You know, and that's not likely going to happen again.
Right.
And you know, on the Franklin Street one, it was because there were limitations and some flexibility that you got the Conservation Commission to weigh in on. In other words, extending the period from 6 months to 12 months isn't really going to permit that really wasn't so much a factor. Well, I guess you could argue it was a factor because it allowed for the time to negotiate the deals. But what are the kind of deals that we would be able to consummate if we had additional time?
The issue is now the town is so well built out that there's very little likely that you can move an historic house to a new lot. So that's an issue.
Right. But that's not a helpful
No.
argument.
That's
You know, again, in other words, I'm playing the devil's advocate. You know, what is an additional 6 months going to get you folks? Our position is 6 months gets us nothing because nobody pays attention to the time period to
Mhm.
even work with us. Well, if you had more time, what is it that you could do with that time? You can't buy more land. Go ahead, Amelia, because that's what I'm trying to come up with arguments for us.
I'm wondering if there are any examples of houses that were demolished, but that the new houses contain the echo? I mean, are there any people who took what the commission said and
Right.
it produced something not only useful, but also that honors
Right, that preserve the
historical-
facade or
right? Because one of the things that I've been seeing in the stuff that I'm reading from, you know, past years is that the making a distinction between, we're not saying we don't want to demolish anything, That's not the goal. But we want this period of time in which we can explore other options rather than
Alternatives.
full demolition. And this
Exactly.
would be one of them that we could point to. If we can work it, unlike these people who waited us out the 6 months with Guy, the
Right.
races, right? They just waited us out. But if we had a year, could
Right.
we have, so are there any properties that you worked with to produce a new house which honored the old house that we could talk about?
Charlene, I think.
Pierce, it sort
Oh, yeah.
of did. I mean, and that there was a lot of years involved with that one.
Yeah.
But I also think if it was 6 months, there were some developers that wouldn't bother because they can wait out 6 months. Do they
Right.
want to wait out 12 months?
Mhm.
Maybe there'd be 1 or 2 houses that are still around that weren't that bad, that would have been sold to a homeowner as opposed to a developer.
Yeah, it might be the 12 months may deter some people, even rather than, so that we don't even have to go through that process with them.
Yeah.
They
Well,
may
the 12,
decide,
yeah, the
you know.
the 12 months would arguably entice somebody who otherwise would want to demolish the house to reach an agreement with us to save either a facade or to incorporate something in order to get an early release, and rather than be delayed for 12 months.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's the argument. But to Amelia's point, you know, you raised the Pierce, and that, I guess that's one example. The other example, which isn't really apropos, but is Postmark, where, you know, they at least were willing to preserve. I mean, they had to because of the cloud of the historical commission. But, you know, you could get them to incorporate. They incorporated the original structure in it. Like, you know, what I was trying to suggest with respect to 25 Haven, which we should talk about, if we could get them to incorporate the facade, which is really all that's left of the building on Haven Street, into something else. Or, you know, Gould Street, where he was willing to incorporate a room with which displays pieces. That's the only thing that I can think of.
You know,
Yeah, just to piggyback, I like what Charlene was saying, where, you know, maybe granted, we don't have many, you know, possible success stories, but if we can point out, like, look, hey, you see houses getting torn down by being bought up by outside developers and, you know, just throwing up whatever they want. But, you know, maybe if we had that 12 months, it gives more of an opportunity for a homeowner to come in who could, you know, maybe not tear down the whole thing and work with us, and, you know, maybe even keep it within Reading. And then, you know, instead of like these outside developers. And then I know these aren't direct results of demolition delays, but maybe we can point to some examples where, here's some examples where, you know, we had a chance to work with the developer, Gould Street, Postmark Square, and, you know, we've had some success. So maybe it's sort of along those lines we could.
I'm
We
reminded of what is it, 116 Lowell, where he at least was working with us. It was unsuccessful because of the ZBA, but I mean, that's the argument. Unfortunately, there aren't that many great examples that we can point to.
Just a point of clarification, Charlene, Pierce, the Pierce building, that's the Oregon building you were talking about?
Yes, on Pierce Street. It's now, I don't know, 6 or 8 condos.
Okay,
The building is gone, right? I mean, that's
The building's gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they agreed to construction
features.
that retains the features.
and it's much
They
nicer
use-
looking than the condos across the street or over on Spring Street. That
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ones across the street from there. Ugh.
Yeah.
Virginia, you going to say something about them retaining something in Pierce?
No, the Pierce Street went through 3 different developers. It was another long, horrible thing. And one developer even ended up in jail, so he couldn't complete
Yes.
his project. But anyways,
Johnson.
they did build it on the same footprint and used many of the same features, even replicating the cupola that was on the original factory. So, and they have a nice plaque on it that we insisted that they produce too. So,
Yeah.
And do we have pictures of the original building that we could put up next to
Oh,
the
yeah.
new one?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might sway some people, just if we can show what influence we can have.
Mhm.
There's one other house on Salem Street that a developer had gone to inquire about and was ready to tear it down. And that was when we had the 12-month. And he decided, no, he wasn't going to wait out the 12 months because he knew we weren't going to let it go. And so then we helped the realtor write out a good story about the house, and
Yeah.
they sold it within a month to people who restored it and still live in the house now.
Yeah.
So,
What number Salem Street is that?
I don't know.
What's it at the corner of?
Spring
it-
Street?
Spring
No.
or winter? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's
kind
get
of
it.
up a little bit from the street, right at the corner.
okay, that's somebody's assignment. Drive by the house and figure out what number it is.
Wait, what side of the street is it on?
Where is
Is
it?
on the Spring Street side?
Yeah.
It's a green colored house that sets up on a mound. It's next door across this Spring Street from the dark colored house.
Oh, yeah. It's got like a big wide porch.
Can,
Yes.
can
Yeah.
you put it on Google Maps or Street View or whatever?
Oh yeah, I could do that now, or else I could walk by it tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that is a nice place. And it,
And the amazing thing is when the guy started working on it, he took the siding off and all the walls are cribbed. There's one layer on top of another, and it's not balloon framed or anything. It's called cribbing when the boards take the width of the whole wall. So it was quite interesting.
That reminds me, Virginia, tell us the story about the house they were renovating and cash came out of the walls.
Oh, yeah. Not an awful lot, but it did down on Ash Street.
Oh, yeah.
They started renovating it, and all of a sudden bills started coming out of the walls, and at least the developer was good enough to gather it all up and gave it to the poor elderly woman who had sold the house and had forgotten that the money had
Wow.
been
wow.
stashed in there. So
That was the one that they took down and when they rebuilt Ravens Family Dental,
yes, you're right,
Right.
Charlene. But
with
Yeah,
the
you've got-
parking lot on the right of the building.
yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, corner of Spring Street. Yep.
you
That's
got
the
it,
house right there.
Pino. Yep.
118 Salem?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
excellent.
Another idea is you go around and take pictures like 7981 Salem, that's a hole in the ground. This is what happens when you have a 6-month delay. to take a
Right.
picture Of
Yeah.
ugly,
Right.
basements.
Yeah, they haven't
Even-
begun building anything. There's just a foundation.
Hmm.
They have a
Mhm.
foundation with the bulkheads and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, there's, and a fence.
Yes.
Fence, yes.
Lovely fence.
Yeah.
Did the Rice's house come down already? Does anybody
No,
know?
it's still up. It's still up.
Whose house is that?
Right,
The,
right in the street house.
Yeah. On
Guy
Eaton
mentioned
Street.
the yellow.
Yeah.
The most recent demolition delay we had.
Oh,
They didn't
okay,
want to
yeah.
make the,
Brooks, Rice.
yeah.
Mhm.
Pino, can you take that picture?
Of
7981?
oh, sure. Yep.
I like that. This is what happens when you
Yeah, I mean,
don't
there's
give us a
I'm sure
12-month
there's many
demo.
examples.
Mhm.
Okay.
Of course, that property has gone through several developers too, and
Yeah.
several demo delays.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I've been watching the Salem Street, and I think Virginia, you sent around that picture of the, was it an oven or what was
I
it?
think it's a cistern,
What is a cistern?
a water,
Storage.
A vessel.
storage.
Just a storage. Okay.
Yeah, what are they doing over there?
That one.
A
That's
lot.
yeah.
Mhm.
Frequently I have to stop and sneak around trucks. There've been concrete.
Yeah.
I think they're pouring foundation stuff now.
Mhm.
But it should be interesting. Is there anything else for our demo delay discussion for tonight? All right. Charlene, what would you like to say about our finances?
Well, most of it's already been said. I don't know just where we are with things. We talked about the cost of hearings and the letters and sending out those mailings.
Yeah.
So that was really all I had.
Yeah. And whatever I find out from Amanda,
Okay,
if I know we're going to be charged for something, I'll give you a heads up.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll come out of somebody else's budget.
Did you get your money from the last
I did,
reimbursement?
yeah.
Good,
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, I got this check and I'm like, what is this for? But I remembered.
Oh, is it just say like Town of Reading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
It
I
wasn't
overpay
for-
something? What was it?
Charlene, it wasn't from the US government.
No.
Is
Oh.
there any new business? Go ahead, Virginia.
I'd like to follow up about the naming of that liquor for the liquor license on Post Office Square there, what is it?
Postmark Square?
Postmark.
Postmark.
The
Postmark.
postmark.
Yeah, the postmark.
Tell us what it is again. Common,
Yeah.
common meeting.
District.
And what is it? Is it an area within the building where the folks who
Yeah.
live there?
I think it could be the alcohol license for the commercial property that's a restaurant or something that comes out onto Haven Street.
Oh, okay.
I've
Common
already
District
mislaid.
Common District Meeting House.
So are you saying that that's a business that's gonna go into that area on the front of Haven Street there?
Yes,
The
I
believe
Common
that's where it's-
District?
Probably that big central space look to be like set up for a brew pub or a bar or something.
right.
It's an odd name. It sounds
Yeah.
like a church. Meeting house usually.
Well, no, it said common. Look at, I can't even find that now. See, that's my problem. I can't file anything. It was in the newspaper. But I think it'd be worth it to write a letter to CPDC suggesting that the name was in conflict with historic preservation within the town, that people might get misunderstand it. I don't know. Here it is. Phew, phew. It's called an application for Haven Street PO LLC DBA, doing business as the Common District Meeting House at 136 Haven Street. The Common District Meeting House. It just doesn't.
Doesn't
Go
sound like a
anywhere.
restaurant.
Yeah. I don't,
They're using the term meeting house as a group thing. It's not like an old fashioned meeting house church, but
Yeah.
I just don't like the name.
What's funny, what's jarring to me is not so much the meeting house point, but calling it the Common District, and I keep thinking
Right.
of the area of the Common.
Right.
And it's it seems incompatible or at least contrary to what, I mean, we don't call that the common district, we call it the common, but one
Yeah.
would think that it's the area around the common, and that's not correct.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know whether that's particularly strong grounds to disagree, but it is conflicting. There is a conflict there. There is something that's unsettling about it. I mean, I assume what they're getting at is that it's the common district in that area that will now be a residential community.
Right.
And that's the common meeting house for people who live in that area. I mean, they're trying to get some cachet.
I'm surprised it doesn't refer to the post office at all. Seems like you could make some good post office names.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to draw from what they're hoping will be a livable, viable business residential area. That's the place for people who are either shopping or living in that area to congregate and get together. It's sort of,
Well, but no one
what
calls
Portland
it.
Pie was for a period of time.
No one calls it the Common District. That's downtown,
That's what they're trying to start.
the downtown meeting house. Okay.
Let's stamp out this name.
I don't know if we have a lot of standing to start telling people how to name stuff. I don't know.
I think it's worth a letter. And that'll be up to CPDC. I mean, we're under their auspices as well. We've written our opinions on things in the past.
I see.
Whether they accept it or not is another story, but I think it's worth it to try. Am I standing alone here?
I don't know, I'm not crazy about it, but I don't know that it's worth a letter.
Well, the only question is, I mean, I kind of agree with Charlene, but I guess the question for us to focus on is there a hook from the standpoint of historical elements or historical connotation that we could object or raise for their consideration? That to me is the question. I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable raising any objection to the name of something just because I don't like the name of it. But from our standpoint, there's some connection to a historical element in town that we can focus on, and that, if anything, that would be the confusion about the common district.
Right. That's what I would specify.
Maybe you should take a stab at putting it in writing and we could all look at it.
Yeah, I'm thinking when the hearing is.
Do they have a hearing this Monday coming up?
No, let me see.
They just had one this past
No,
Monday.
it's, you can enter comments by email prior to 6 p.m. on May 4th.
So we have a couple of weeks to look at something.
Yeah, it's May 4th at 8:10 p.m.
Yeah, I'd be willing to send, to back a letter that has some points about the history and how it's confusing, and they might want to reconsider the name. But
That would be great. I'm not a good letter writer, so if somebody else, I'll put this in with the packet that
I'm not volunteering to write the letter. I'll back
shucks.
the letter. I'll sign it. I just I don't think I have time with all I
Right.
have to write all these thank you letters for archives.
Right.
But if you want to send a draft, we could probably collectively, come up with something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Virginia, just put a couple of sentences together and send it around to us, and
Yeah, it
we'll
doesn't
all.
have to be a long, elaborate.
Right.
It might be worth it for the CPDC to hear that, and they might just make the suggestion that you call it something else.
Mhm.
I don't know how hard it is to switch your DBA in Massachusetts.
Well,
It
yeah,
may be too late, but
right. Well, also before they're issued an alcohol license, it would be worth it if they're going to change it rather than after they get their
Okay.
license. So, yeah,
all right.
I'll bring it to their attention.
If that's all on that, the postmark square. We did just get a new application for 25 Haven Street. I don't know if everyone's received that, or if, I know Jonathan sent me something from.
It was sent to me, but it was also copied to the RHC forwarding address. Just, I think it was either yesterday.
Yeah,
So everybody should have gotten it.
yeah, I just
may
got
not
it
have seen it.
today.
Yes.
So I didn't see it on the RHC. I got your email today, Jonathan. I don't
okay.
always think I always get RHC stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, for folks who aren't, I know that's been an issue in the past, and if there are people who are not getting stuff that's being forwarded, we should address that with Amanda. But I'm pretty certain that one was. I can check it in a second, but yeah, here it is.
That was a very long one, and I couldn't enlarge it, so I didn't read it very well.
It was sent to me, and it was sent to his folks, and it was sent to Amanda and the RHC forwarding address.
Well, I'll have to look. Yeah, once in a while, I just don't get them. But
the bottom line is,
yeah,
there as folks might remember, this had come forward back last year when I was the chair, and I was going back and forth with them because they did not include a justification for why it should be demolished. There was actually a lot of different components that they failed to include, and this was including everything. And I do think that they did include an interesting report from a structural engineer justifying their statement of reasons with why the building was in bad disrepair. Because the whole point of my correspondence back to them was to try to get them to consider retaining the facade of the building. And she did actually, or somebody did actually express some, in the document that they attached, they did express some position about retaining some components of the facade. So people should take a look at it. But the bottom line, I think, Sam, is that it does appear that with the inclusion of these additional documents, in addition to what they previously submitted, that the application is probably complete. So that would require you as the chair to notify the planning department that we consider it complete, and
Okay.
then we would have to set up a demolition delay hearing.
okay. I will get on that. Planning. Great. Is there any other? Oh, no business?
Do we need to pick a date for the hearing?
I think what we I don't have the
We have time. Don't we have is it 10 days to schedule a meeting or
yeah, we
Or come up
have
with some
we've
dates.
concluded that just give me a second here. Arrange, notify the chair who will provide the building inspector with alternative dates for a public hearing, no sooner than 7 nor more than 21 days from the determination. So we have 21 days. Whenever you send that notification that we consider it complete, we have no more than 21 days from them to notify them of a date for the hearing. We used to think that we had to have the hearing within 21 days, but we now understand that can't be the way it's interpreted. All we have to do within that 21-day window is notify them of the date for the hearing.
Can we do it
So,
at the next meeting then?
Well,
June
yeah,
12th? Good.
we will have 21 days. Yeah. When is the May meeting? Is it the 14th?
12th?
Okay, so We have 21 days. We have 21 days following whenever Sam sends a notification that it's complete to pick the date. So we could probably,
That
pick
probably
that
won't be
date.
till Monday. Because
Mhm.
I'll be at work tomorrow and then.
right.
That'll
And
close on
this, I
Friday.
don't think that you need to necessarily rush, so that's
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
trying to look at a calendar here. So
Yeah.
that would be the 19th.
Okay. We could plan, tentatively
we're-
plan to do that hearing during the June meeting.
Yeah, we could. It looks like the 21 days will elapse before our meeting on May 12th. So we should probably do it in the June meeting.
Okay. Right. Sounds good.
So we should probably pick the June meeting, today.
Yeah, should we do that now? Since
We
we're
could.
already talking about it. For my calendar to open.
We're meeting on the 12th, and June, Wednesday would be the 16th or the 9th, it looks like, or the 23rd. I mean, it's the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, and the 23rd.
I vote for the 16th since it's kind of the,
Hmm.
it's not quite the Ides.
Yeah.
But
But it's the middle of the month.
Okay.
is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
All right. Uh-oh. My battery is low.
Oh,
Oh.
my battery is getting low too on me
I
personally.
got a warning. My battery and the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, should we review the last minutes from last month?
Yes.
I'm gonna grab a plug-in cord.
Okay.
While you guys start that. And I have to move over.
On the minutes,
Yep.
it says Kalobachi is there. Do we need to mention that he's on the select board or not? He
I can do
think
that,
he's
except,
our liaison, I think.
right, but then his
He-
wife was there too, so I didn't know how to,
Okay.
do I say they're town residents? I don't know.
I think the
The other
name
people are
is sufficient.
specified.
Okay,
Yeah, name is sufficient. I mean, he wasn't necessarily representing the select board.
Okay.
He was
I
in
just-
the same way in which Aaron was there. Did you all understand what my first note there was about Laura D. Michelle? I mean, she just needed
Yeah.
to be listed. Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't able to add it up there because that's,
I know, it's a weird form.
yeah, it's a weird format, so, okay. And I think everything else in my comments was pretty clear.
Yep,
I only had one comment way over on page 3 on
Yep.
the utility box vinyl wrap artwork project.
Yep.
I think we should identify Andrew Nichols' title. Otherwise, we don't really know his role.
okay, so what's
I'm not
his-
sure what it is, tell you the truth, but I think it could
he's
be.
now the planner. I think he's now the
I
town
think so
planner.
too. Yeah.
Okay,
But you could, Amelia, you could just go to the website and look at, but I think he now is the town planner.
okay,
I think so too.
On the second page,
Yep.
in demolition delay, the second paragraph,
yep,
it talks about that Aaron asked if we would be willing, specifically asked if the RHC would be willing to raise funds for renovations and/or to make owners aware of grants. And Virginia said yes to both. My question is, are we saying that we'd help raise funds for renovations?
I remember the conversation going, what else could you do? And then Virginia said, well, we had done that in the past and it served its purpose and it's not in place anymore. So I don't know what you want me to.
Yeah, it almost sounds like we're saying we'll help pay for renovations and
Okay,
And when,
I don't think that was our intent.
so both are possibilities or something?
I think it seemed like we agreed to try to find out what some opportunities are and direct people towards them.
Okay.
Just provide resources rather than, maybe that's something, if we found out there were some grants available, we could put links on the website.
Mhm.
Maybe doing some things like that, you know, on the town website might help our case with the town meeting, if we can
Yeah.
show the ways we're trying to.
Yeah.
let
So
people know.
how do you want to reformulate the last sentence then?
Let's see. Well, we
I mean,
can't really raise funds for people.
No, but you could say, you know, Virginia, you know, said, you know, that we're certainly willing to make owners aware of outside grant programs and assist in pursuing other funding sources. I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds better.
yeah,
Okay, say that one more time.
It's sort of it's repetitive, but you know, Virginia said that we certainly were willing to make owners aware of outside grant programs and to pursue other
Funding opportunities.
other funding sources
Sources.
or
Which
opportunities, either one.
which are nil.
Okay.
No, that's not true. I mean, you know, there is that it comes out annually, but it's that the historical commission has that grant program for historical homes.
And I think those properties have to be open to the public, I believe. That's why churches use it and public buildings, but I don't think individual properties will do it.
See.
I thought we heard of some at some point.
It's I'm just looking at the postcard from the commission about this. The Mass Preservation Projects Fund Grant Program is a state-funded 50% reimbursable matching program, blah, 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 to support the preservation of properties, landscapes, and sites listed in the State Register of Historic Places. It said, oh, it does, applicants must be a municipality or nonprofit organization. But couldn't we pursue a grant on behalf of a home on the state register in our town?
No,
I don't
Why?
think so. And
I don't know.
The town
Yeah.
on the property.
I think the town is to own the property. And then it might look like we're favoring a particular homeowner because we help them get a grant and not
I
this
make
one.
promises that we're going to start applying for lots of big grants, because that's
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Well, then Virginia's point is well taken. It's nil.
Other
Well, we would certainly share anything that might come up in the future.
Oh, yeah. Is there any other comments on the minutes?
No.
Okay,
I move that we accept the minutes of March 10th as amended.
I second.
Second. No, go ahead.
I gotcha. All right. Amelia,
yes.
I vote yes. Jonathan,
Yes.
Virginia,
Yes,
and Charlene?
Yes.
Good. We've already we're all like 2 meetings ahead with scheduling. That's helpful. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? Or unless,
no, one
after.
quick thing.
Sorry.
With these certificates for our past members, could we present them at the night that we're doing the hearings for the others so that it's all Zoom, unfortunately, but
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just thinking it would be more publicity that we could get out in
Yeah.
the paper. So
That sounds great. We can, I can let Jack and
Ron,
go. We'd like to recognize their
Mhm.
service, and if they want to hop on and
Yep.
look pleased, make a speech, Great.
Careful what you ask for.
I know. All right.
Okay.
Now, does anyone have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Lost.
Yep.
9:30.
Count.
All right. Oh, sorry.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Jonathan, Virginia,
Yes.
yes.
and Charlie.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I slowed down after about 8:45, so
Yeah.
Good night.
have a great
Night.
night.
Good night.
All right, guys, good night.